Hi, Dio. This is your Uncle Staffman coming to you live from the underbelly. I hope you all are doing well. Um, it is a Saturday night, and I'm chilling. I hope everybody had a good week. I wanted to do an episode on heroes. And I'm not just talking about like superheroes and things of that nature. I mean like heroes, people in your life that matter. Um Last episode I talked about friends, so this one would be more like a part 2 to that. Who are the people who inspire you when the chips are down and you're feeling a certain kind of way? Who are the people that inspire you? So I'm gonna start since I'm the only one here, but I'm gonna say that people who inspire me are my brother. I have a younger brother who is in acting. He has always been a character, and I have truly admired him for what he has been doing with his life. He's been able to do a couple commercials and he does what he enjoys. And he's always been someone who lives life out loud. And I've admired that. I'm slowly coming into that now because before, I was always somebody who was kind of reserved. Like, don't get me wrong, I like to make people laugh and be wild and zany, but I was never someone who really let me be me. And I'm starting to do that now. And I can thank my brother for that. Another person that I would say is a hero for me is my dad. My dad, he passed away in 2016 from cancer. And that was rough for me. I still don't think I'm over it, and it's 2025. I don't think you ever get over it when it's somebody you really love. But my dad was definitely a hero of mine. My dad was a Vietnam vet, and he had a really interesting life. My dad played basketball in Iowa, Burlington. Almost went to the NBA, but he got drafted to Vietnam. My dad was funny. The best way I can equate him to people who have never met him is Sanford and Son. He was Sanford. Like, that was my dad. Like, grumpy, but funny and witty. Like, my dad was a character. I felt I had to bring this up because I couldn't save this for Father's Day because, when you're talking about your heroes and stuff like that, that's an everyday thing. And that was my dad for me. I actually brought him up in my last therapy session where I said, like, I hope that he sees who I am now and he's proud of that. I know he was always proud of me, but I'm just hoping that as I have matured and gotten older and I work with my son, that he would be proud of who I've become. He was married to my mom for 30 something years. My dad wasn't perfect, but he was there, like always there. A lot of the people that I grew up with came from single parent homes, but my dad was there always, like no matter what. And my dad was the kind of dad that even if my friends didn't have a male figure, he would take them in, not like in our house, but like he was always friendly to everybody and he included everybody. which in turn, brought more people, you know, closer to him. And a lot of people were like, man, your dad's real cool, man. So, I got to tell you this story. So, I used to run track and field. It was a sport that I enjoyed, like my favorite. I wasn't really a big basketball player, but track and field is where I wanted to be. I started out doing cross country in junior high. I didn't make the team the first time, and I just kept trying, and then I ended up making it. And from cross country, I went into track, and I enjoyed doing that so much, in fact, that I was able to get over to Australia for a pretty much the exchange student program where I was able to go over there with some other Americans and run track over in Australia and New Zealand. And that was a lot of fun. My family raised the money for me to go. And my aunt, who is somebody else that I would say is my hero, my mom's sister, she really hit the forefront selling Little Caesars pizza kits for me to be able to go. And yeah, like I got a lot of people I admire in my family. But yeah, back to my dad. So my dad, he really was there for me doing track. He was there for me all the time, but like during track, my dad was like really there. When I was in junior high, I didn't have the best experiences. I never really talked about it with other people. I stood out, definitely. Like, I was not what you would call hood. I mean, you can't be from the hood and ticklish. I'm sorry. It just doesn't go hand in hand. Like, I am ticklish. So, I mean, it's just how it is. But yeah, I just did not blend in. Like a lot of the guys that I went to school with were a little tougher than I was, and I just wasn't like that. I wasn't a fighter. I was bone thin. So I got picked on a lot. And I was not, a good looking kid. I guess you could say I was an ugly duckling, but it is what it is. So when I ran track, I tried to find a community for me. And even then, I was getting picked on a lot and stuff. But one time, my dad went on a track meet with me. And we were going to Virginia. And my dad was hilarious. He made these kids who were picking on me laugh. He made their parents laugh. And in the process, he made school more tolerable for me because everybody was like, man, your dad's pretty cool. So it was great. Everybody looked forward to him going on trips with me. And I was thankful for that. Like my dad really didn't know, but he really got me out of a lot of stressful times when I was in junior high. And there was this one time where I was getting ready to go on another track meet. And my dad couldn't go. We were going to Ohio. And my dad was like, no, I can't go on this one. I got some stuff to do here. So I said, okay, that's fine. So my mom dropped me off at the school. We were all getting on the charter bus to head to Ohio. And everybody was asking about my dad. And I was like, yeah, he's not going to be able to go on this one. So, it was fine. And on the weekends, my dad was a hustler. Like, he was a hustler. Like, he found any job to do to make more money. Like, he was a gambler, too. Like, he loved playing the lottery. So, I mean, it just is what it is. But he would barbecue on the weekends to make extra money. And then, side note, my dad ended up losing his job at one point, and he became a part of the janitorial staff at my school. And I was embarrassed about that, but my dad didn't care. He was like, hey, man, I got to make money, got to do what I got to do. Like, my dad always made sure that my family had what we needed. And I've always been thankful for that. But anyway, I digress. So I'm on this trip, and I'm getting ready to leave. The bus is getting ready to pull off. And as we're getting ready to pull off, there's a parking lot to the right. And I see this car speeding in the parking lot. It was a Champagne Ford Taurus. And I said, stop, that's my dad. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, my dad had drove like 40, 50 miles from where he was to come see me off on this trip. And my dad, this is going to be emotional, but it is what it is. But my dad got out the car. He had his friend Chris with him because they used to barbecue together. And he runs out the car. Like, he gets out the car. My dad was bow-legged, so it's funny seeing him run. So he ran out the car. He had on, like, cut-off jean shorts. He made his own jean shorts. It was crazy. So he got out. He had on these jean shorts and a WWE boonie hat. And he comes running up on the bus. Everybody's like, oh, it's Mr. Stafford. It's Mr. Stafford. And I was sitting in the back. And my dad was like, where's my boy at? And I was like, I'm right here, man. And he met me in the middle of the bus and he gave me a hug. He rode 40 miles to give me a hug. And my dad was like, hey, man, I love you, dude. Have a good time. And he said it loud on the bus, like he already owned me, you know what I mean? I was his, but that day he was letting people know this is my boy. And that's probably by far one of the best memories I have. My dad came all that way to see me. And I hadn't did one event because we hadn't gone yet, but I felt like I got a gold medal that day because my dad was there for me. And man, like, this guy would go above and beyond for me. Like, when I was in the Air Force and I came home for the first time, I didn't really want to do too much but just unwind. Like, I hung out with my friends and stuff like that, but my family wanted to throw this big party and I didn't want that, but they did it anyway. And I really just stayed in my room the entire time. Like, I wasn't being antisocial, but at the same time I was. And my dad came in there and he sat with me. Like, we sat in there and we watched some crappy movie with Scott Bakula. I think it was, what was that movie? Master of Illusion or something like that. Some crappy ass movie. We just sat there and we just watched it. Like, he just sat with me. And that was good for me. Like, my dad, he loved his family and, was definitely there for me. He didn't know who his father was, but that didn't deter him from being a great dad. And I say that to say that your environment does not determine the kind of person you can turn into. It does teach you things, but you don't have to be a product of said environment. He had an older brother, older sister. My dad was the baby of the family, and they died before he did, like at a young age, and so did his mom. And my dad had, I'm not going to put all his business out there, but he suffered abuse during time when he was in foster care. Because back then, my grandmother had got tuberculosis, consumption. So she had to go away for a while to get care. And my dad and his brother and sister ended up in the foster system for a long time. And during that time, some people who were looking after my dad abused him. But you would never know it because he just never showed that stuff. Like, he was always great with us, never abusive, never like angry about things. Like, he loved life, and he loved Detroit. Like, Detroit was where he wanted to be, and Detroit is where he wanted to die. And he loved being in Detroit. Like, my dad knew places, how to get there without looking at a map. And this is back when you didn't have no phone or MapQuest. Like, my dad just knew how to get places because that's all he knew. And, I loved that about him. I loved that about him. And there were times where when I got out the service and I was working, my first time in active duty when I got out in 2014, I got a job working in Southern California. So I was like 6 hours away from my family, my son and his mom. And when I would commute to come back up to see my family, my mom and dad would be on the phone with me for 6 hours, dude. Like, they would be on the phone with me for 6 hours, cracking jokes and just making me laugh. Like, California is 3 hours behind time in Michigan. So, it would be like 1 and 2 in the morning there. And, it was, not that late here. And they would stay on the phone with me till I got there. Like, that's just how close-knit my family is. Because I'm still very close with my mom. I talk to her every day. But yeah, my dad definitely was just an exceptional guy. And, he could have been like anybody else, went off and did his own thing, because he could have been like, I don't know how to be a dad, but, there's no manual for this. Like, he did it, and he made sure that we had what we needed. He was a man, and I'll tell you that there's no handbook on how to be a man. People out here, they'll tell you, oh, you gotta be alpha and shit like that. My dad was alpha without having to say it. Like, he just took care of his. And he didn't go around like having to have his chest out and shit like that. He just who he was. He was just a silent type. Like, he didn't go around bragging. Like, my dad would help people. He'd make them laugh. He would do things that, today will be looked at as odd, but that's just how my dad was. And, that's just the reason why I admire him the way I do. And I'm glad I had somebody like that in my life to kind of keep me on the straight and narrow. But I will admit that when he passed, because I had moved back to the Midwest for a while with my family in hopes of, doing things with my dad. Because my brother and my dad got to do a lot together. They got to do a lot. They got to, my dad took him to college, and they spent a lot of time together. So I kind of felt cheated, not in a bad way, but like when I moved back, like I really felt like, oh man, we'll go fishing, we'll go do all this stuff together. But we just never got that chance because, cancer hit, and it sucked. But I will say that at his funeral, my dad had told us before he passed, he said, hey, don't let my funeral be sad, like make people laugh. And me and my brother did that. Still to this day, we have people saying, like, I don't even recall it being a funeral. It was like we were at a show. And I kind of wish we would have recorded that. But everybody that still remembers my dad is like, that was probably the best homegoing I ever been to. I didn't cry. Like, I laughed. Like, I thought I was at a show. And I know my dad would have been proud of that. So yeah, I mean, he definitely was a hero for me. And still is to this day. So, yeah, you know, you honor the heroes that are in your life. Like, I know everybody that I know may not have had a parent like I had, or, you know, any kind of person like that, but somebody in your life inspired you in one way or another. And I hope that you can acknowledge them and let them know, like, hey, thank you for being there for me. My uncle, he holds a high standard for me, my mom's little brother. And he also is somebody that has turned his life around, and I watched him work from the ground up. I heard somebody say once that you can't kill something that comes from the dirt. And that's so true because, you know, like my dad, my uncle, you know, a lot of people that I know, they didn't come from a lot. They had to scratch and dig and claw to get where they were at. And like I said, you can't stop or kill something that already comes from the dirt, because they already know what it took to get where they're at. And my uncle was like that too. My uncle is like that too, and I'm thankful for him as well. And then I'm gonna bring up somebody from my elementary days. I had a teacher. His name was Mr. Edgecombe. This guy had like the smoothest high top fade I ever seen in my life. Like, before I knew who Steve Harvey was, this guy was like, I would say Mr. Edgecombe he wasn't a comedian. Like, he wasn't funny. He was just like smooth. Like, this guy was, if smooth jazz was a person, this was him. This was it. He was that. Had the best cologne, always had the best suits, and just a smooth guy. Like, he taught me as well about self-confidence and being able to stand up in front of people and speak. He gave me my love for public speaking, to be able to speak in front of people and not be afraid. He always taught me that, hey, if you're nervous, find a spot on the wall, look at that, and look straight ahead. Because other people, as long as you look straight ahead, it looks like you're looking at them. Like, you're not, don't be afraid. Like, find a spot on the wall and project to that. And I've always remembered that. It gave me a lot of confidence to be able to speak in front of a bunch of people. And I love that. Like, I enjoy that. Even when I was in college, like, I know a lot of people hate speeches. I love speeches. I love being able to give them, because it allows me to, if I know I can break the ice, I know I got you. I know I got you at that point. I'll have your attention. And Mr. Edgecombe definitely helped me with that. He taught me about, I already had self-worth, but he taught me about being proud of who I was and being proud of, being a strong individual when you don't feel strong. Like, stand up and believe in yourself. Like, I really thank Mr. Edgecombe for that. So yeah, I just feel like I had to record this because these people are people who live in my head when I am having issues with my mental health. I remember the people who inspired me sometimes, and I have to dig deep to get to where I need to be. I say that to say that there are people in your life who have inspired you, and you may not see it now, but give them their flowers while they're still here, because it's not promised that you'll be able to do it later on or the day after tomorrow. So, just give them their flowers, man. So I'm doing that now. I'm just letting people know, like, hey, I care about you and thank you for what you've done for me. And, wherever my dad is, being he is one with the force, I hope that he hears that, hey, I appreciate everything that you've done for me. And, you really saved me a lot of times, and I appreciate that. Him and my mom have always been supportive. My mom is still my number one cheerleader. She always says that. So it just makes me feel good. And my mom, it used to be a time where my mom would just, when we would talk on the phone, and we still do, but I was so in my head with things that I couldn't take the compliments that my mom would give me. You're a good dad. You're a good son. You're a good partner, And I couldn't accept it because I had parts of me that were like, no, you're not. You're not like that. And I would have to cut my mom off and be like, Mom, please stop saying that, because I just can't accept that. But my mom wouldn't stop. She would always say, hey, you're a good person. You're a good dad. You are a good son. You're a good boy. You're a good man. She would say that. And I just couldn't allow myself to believe that. But now, that I'm in the state of mind that I'm in now, I am a good person. I am a good dad. I am a good partner. I'm not perfect, but I'm doing what I can to be good about it. And I'm thankful for my mom being my advocate and putting those positive affirmations in me. I may not have been able to accept them then, but I'm able to accept them now. And I'm glad I'm able to do that. And I say that to you all too. Don't allow the negative spaces in your mind to block the positive affirmations that people want to give you. I'm going to tell you right now, you're a good person. You're doing the best you can. You're taking it day by day. And that's all you can do. It doesn't matter if someone out there doesn't like what you're doing. You're doing the best you can with the skills that you have, and that's all that matters. You're still standing. You're still present. And you inspire people. Remember that. So I'm going to go ahead and end this. I think this was a good episode to put out. And I really hope that these words resonate with you and that you have a good day or a good night. So with that being said, I will catch you next time. And I'll catch you on the flip or the flop, whichever you prefer.